Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Allison with Baby Stepping to Freedom. Today we are going to be talking about another thing that has been helpful for us in our debt-free journey and that I think sometimes can be a little confusing for some people. What I'm talking about is the debt snowball. Now, the debt snowball is a term from Dave Ramsey that is basically talking about how one method, I guess, to pay off debt, how you list your debts and kind of the psychology behind paying off debt in this way. A lot of times when people start paying off debt, they just don't even know where to start. And there are lots of different things out there, but I'm going to talk about the debt snowball because this is what we used and this is what I think makes the most sense. So if you haven't already, I would highly suggest that you read The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey, and that's where this information is highlighted along with lots of other information about how to pay off debt and become financially secure and build wealth. I have a link for that book down below, so check that out. Also, before we get going, while you're down there checking out that book, just press that little red subscribe button so then you can get notifications for when I post new videos and you can stay up to date on all these fun debt-free happenings. So, the debt snowball. What is the debt snowball and how do you get started on it? Well, basically, the debt snowball is paying your debts from smallest to largest. That's it. Smallest to largest. So, get all your debts, list them out, smallest balance to largest balance. Interest does not matter. Everyone says, well, what about this one that has really high interest? Or what about this one that has 0% interest? Doesn't matter in the debt snowball. Make your list from smallest to largest. Then, once you have all your debts listed out, you make your regular minimum payments for everything. So this would be a part of your budget, your zero-based budget, that you put all of the minimum payments into your budget. And whatever's left over in your zero-based budget, right, because you're listing everything out, and then there should be like, oh, hey, here's this money that doesn't have a purpose. I need to give that money a purpose. And that's what you put towards your smallest debt. Everything else is just minimum payments. You're not attacking anything else in your list of debts but that smallest balance. Then, once you pay off your smallest debt, you take that minimum payment of that debt that you've paid off and then you move it and apply it to your next smallest debt. So here's an example. Let's say you have 3 debts. Debt 1 is $500 and you have a $25 minimum payment. Debt 2 is $1,000 and you have another $25 minimum payment. And debt 3 is $2,000 and you have a $50 minimum payment, okay? So you have all your debts listed from smallest to largest and you have a total of $100 worth of minimum payments that you have to make to stay up to date on these debts. So at the very least, you're paying $100 towards those debts each month. After you make your zero-based budget, you have, let's say, $100 left over that you can put towards debt. So you now take that $100 and you put it towards debt 1. Now debt 1 has $125 being paid every month. Now, keep in mind, if you get any extra money here or there, you want to put it all towards debt 1. Before you know it, that $500 debt is paid off because you have been paying $125 every month towards that debt. Debt's gone. Now you take that $25 that you had for the minimum payment and you don't say, oh hey, now I have $25 that I can spend on Taco Bell. No, you take that $25 and you apply it towards debt 2. Now at the very least you have $50 that you are applying to debt 2. So let's say you still have $100 after you do your zero-based budget, and so you have a $50 minimum that you're paying and this $100 that you have left over in your budget. So now debt 2 has $150 that is being paid every single month. Before you know it, that's gone too. See the momentum, right? It's the debt snowball because you're speeding up. As the snowball rolls, it gets bigger and bigger. See how that works? So now you've cleared up debt 1, and debt 2, you have cleared up $50 of minimum payments. And now that $50, 25 from debt 1, 25 from debt 2, will be applied to debt 3. So now a minimum of $100 will be put towards debt 3 because debt 3 had a $50 minimum payment that you've been paying this whole time, and you've freed up $50 from debt 1 and debt 2 that you can now apply to debt 3. So at the very least, you have $100 to put towards debt 3. But don't forget, you still have this $100. Maybe by this point, you have decided, I don't need cable TV anymore. And so now you have actually $150 left over in your budget. So now you have $150 left over in your budget that does not have a purpose yet, and $100 in minimum payments that you freed up from paying off your smallest debts, in addition to debt 3's minimum payments. Put it all together in a nice little box. You now have $250 worth of payments to put towards debt 3. And before you know it, because you're consistently paying the debt and you're not adding to the debt, it will be gone and you will be debt free. Debt 1, debt 2, and debt 3. I'm debt free. I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. So the idea with the debt snowball is just that you are gaining momentum and you're feeling those small victories in the beginning. For most of us, when we get to the point that we say, I want to pay off my debt, I want to be debt free, it's usually because we're feeling stressed. That's usually when people make changes in their lives. You're at a point where you're like, I don't like living the way that I'm living and I need to change something, right? It's in those moments that we need some victory. So paying off a small debt and clearing out $25 in minimum payments makes you feel good. Honestly, your debt-free journey is a lot about how you feel. Because if you don't feel good and you don't feel like you're having success, you're not going to be able to stick to it for very long. So as you gain momentum in freeing up these minimum payments, you're also gaining motivation and willpower and everything that keeps you going. If you decided to just willy-nilly pay off debts and do a little bit here and a little bit there and all your total is going down but nothing's really being paid off, you might not stay super motivated. Maybe that would work for you. Great. But I would think the majority of us would like to feel a little bit of success as we get moving on something that is usually pretty hard. So at this point, your snowball is rolling, your minimum payments are growing, your motivation is growing, and before you know it, you get to your biggest debt that is intimidating and scary. Our biggest debt was $45,000. That was very scary for us. But by the time we got to our biggest debt, we had cleared out a whole list of debts. I don't even know how many we cleared out, but we cleared out a ton of debts and freed up a lot of minimum payments, like hundreds of dollars of minimum payments, probably close to thousands, maybe a little over $1,000 in minimum payments. So by the time we got to our biggest debt, smooth sailing. Now, we were stuck on that debt for a long time because it was a big debt, and we just, by the end, it was like, oh, I am really tired of paying Navient. Really tired of paying Navient. But by that point, we had felt all these little victories along the way, and we knew that we could handle the long road of paying that huge debt. So another strategy that people talk a lot about is the debt avalanche. Basically, the debt avalanche is paying debts from most interest to least interest. So that could be, the balances are kind of, doesn't matter, it's just based on the interest. And so you list out your debts from highest interest to lowest interest, and then you knock out the highest interest first. This is not a Dave Ramsey recommended method. What Dave Ramsey says is, although sometimes the debt avalanche might make sense numbers wise, if this was about math and what mathematically made sense, you wouldn't be in debt in the first place, because debt mathematically does not make sense, right? Typically, you are not gaining anything by going into debt. This is about the psychology of sticking to something that's really hard that many people are not able to do, and making yourself feel good and motivated and focused for a long time. And the debt avalanche might save you some money in interest or something along the way. But for us, our $125,000 was so huge that we needed to feel some success of paying off debts and being done with them. So that is how the debt snowball was beneficial for us. I hope this video made sense. If you've been kind of confused about all the lingo of debt snowball, debt avalanche, all this stuff, maybe this helped. If you are paying off your debt or have paid off your debt or have thought about paying off your debt or whatever, scroll down and leave me a comment and let me know. Do you use the debt snowball? Does that make sense to you? Does it not make sense to you? Let me know. What's your thought process behind it? Because everybody's different, and what makes sense for me might not make sense for you, and that's cool. You do you. Thanks for watching this video, and I will see you very soon. Bye.